It is always game day in Cleveland. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. We are brought to you by our good friends at Smiley One and Bryant, excuse me, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. Daryl, OTAs are underway. The boys are back in town. I'll ask you the first question, and then we'll dive into it. Was everybody there, or everybody there that needed to be there?
Well, remember, this is voluntary, so
Voluntary.
not everyone is required to be there. So, but quality turnout. They were able to get in quite a bit of work, including some 7-on-7 practicing, if you will. No Deshaun Watson throwing, but he just kind of did the mental reps, as they call it.
He did. Did he not throw day one before the media was there?
He threw on Tuesday.
Okay.
And we were not invited to watch that. So he threw on Tuesday, did not throw Wednesday. So that means he'll throw Thursday. And then
it's like he's a starting pitcher.
He's on a throwing program.
There you go.
He's on a pitch count.
Oh.
And so the Browns have promised us that we will get to see him throw a football at some point next week. So that'll be good to see. But yeah, Kevin Stefanski did talk about what the actual plan is for Deshaun as they go through this particular phase of the offseason program. So let's hear from head coach Kevin Stefanski here.
Yeah, I think he looked like himself to me. I've been able to watch him the last couple weeks now that we've gotten into phase 2, so I've seen him throw. He's making great progress, and we will continue to just follow the medical team on this, but he looks like himself. We're rotating days for now. That will change as we get into mini camp, as obviously when you get into training camp, but for right now, he'll be throwing every other day. I think it's something we always talk about. It's mental reps. So when you're not getting a rep, whether you're the quarterback, you're a running back, you're trying to get a mental rep every single time. So I think there's a progression to how all of us learn. And I think as much as we can learn in the classroom, and then we can learn from being out there and taking the rep, I really think you can add another element of watching it while it's happening live. So our guys really do lock in and try to get that mental rep. Now you're going to go into the meeting rooms and watch it again, so you're going to get another rep. But I just think all of it adds up. We don't want to be passive observers out here on the football field if we're not in.
All right, Daryl. So what is your take on that? What are your thoughts on what he had to say?
Well, I mean, look, they're trying to protect Deshaun a little bit here to make sure that they don't overwork that right shoulder as they continue to build the strength in it. We'll see what he's able to do, as Kevin Stefanski alluded to there, when it comes to minicamp, as far as how many reps he's going to be able to take. But they are trying to do a smooth progression with this particular throwing program. So we'll see what he's able to do come minicamp. But I don't think that there's going to be any issues there when it comes to actually knowing the offense and stuff like that. But we don't know. Like we got to see the slow-mo videos that the Browns put out there on social media on Tuesday. There's not really much of anything you can glean from there other than he was actually seen throwing a football.
We're hoping it's not archive footage. But
right. It wasn't. It
was Zapruder film, but otherwise it's okay.
Yeah. So, he's the biggest story this offseason, quite frankly, right? I mean,
he has to be. I mean, and he's got to be the biggest story of the season next year too.
Right, because
to be successful.
It's not just him being healthy, it's him playing like an NFL MVP candidate. That's what they need. That's what's expected here. Because we haven't seen it. And if he isn't able to do that, I don't know how far the Browns are going to be able to go this coming season, right?
He is the season. Let's not. I mean, Daryl, there really aren't. We go into training camp year after year after year after year. There is only one question. It's him.
Yeah, like what?
That's it. I mean, I don't know if there's any more major pressing questions.
Yeah, what's he going to look like? How's he going to throw the ball? Is he going to be efficient? Is he going to take care of the football? Are they going to score points in the red zone? Are they going to have the explosive plays down the field that we got to see with Joe Flacco? Right. And we'll get into it next segment because I thought Wyatt Teller had some interesting comments in regards to just the overall big picture of the Ken Dorsey offense that Dorsey and Kevin Stefanski are putting together. But yeah, I mean, this whole thing starts with Deshaun Watson. And when you look at the Browns' schedule, Andy, and the quarterbacks that they're going to have to face, my goodness gracious, like he has to go toe to toe with these guys. I mean, you got, I'll go right through real quick. Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Gardner Minshew, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson, Bo Nix, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, and Lamar Jackson. Like that, I mean, it's a gauntlet. And it really is. And so they're going to need Deshaun to be able to match wits with all these guys, right? And and in many cases, in many respects, play better than a lot of these guys.
I mean, Daryl, I agree with what you're saying, match wits, but he's got to be able to, like, I think sometimes we get in here, we're like, oh, this quarterback A going up against quarterback B. I think more of this is Deshaun Watson against Deshaun Watson. What is he going to be able to do? How is he going to make the offense sing? When it's more like Myles Garrett's really going through the gauntlet more than
I know, but
quarterback against quarterback. But I understand what you're saying.
The point is, though, is that while the onus obviously is going to be on the Browns defense and the secondary to slow these guys down, but like. If they can't, like Deshaun's got to be able to carve up their defenses and put points on the board and have the explosive plays because that's my biggest thing when you talk about the offense. I don't really care what they run. I want to see what I saw for those 5 weeks with Joe Flacco, where they're just getting those big, massive chunk plays, right?
Right.
I mean, he had
and to the point that we didn't even care about the interceptions for Flacco.
Right.
Like Watson can throw interceptions, not that we want him to, but if you can go into it with the same philosophy you had with Flacco, then this team is going to win.
Yeah, I mean, they have to find a way to allow the offensive explosion to make any mistake that may happen, whether it's a turnover, whether it's negative plays, 3 and outs, whatever, right? To make sure that none of that stuff really matters. Like that's what has to happen this season. And, obviously he's got to be healthy. And so that's why you have him on this throwing program right now to make sure that they don't overdo it, that they're building that arm up gradually, because that's a question. Is the arm going to be the same arm that it was before?
Good point. All right, let's talk more about the offense. We'll do that when we come back here in a second. OTAs, minicamp, whatever you want to call it. It is underway for the Browns as they are gathered.
Organized team activities, Andy. They're OTAs. Minicamp is in mid-June. I'm trying
How long is it? Okay, hang on. We can debate this. I'll do a Phelps with you. How long is regular camp?
What? Regular Browns training camp?
Yeah, it's weeks, right?
It is. I'm just trying to do the math in my head here. It's going to be about 6 weeks.
6 weeks. So anything less than 6 weeks is mini, and they're in Berea. So I'm going to call it.
But here's the thing: no, the OTAs are not
optional,
mandatory. They're optional. So whereas the mini camp in mid-June, the 3 days there, that's mandatory. Everyone has to show up for that. So
you win.
I usually do in these particular conversations. I just, want to make sure that we are being accurate.
Okay. You know what the O stands for? Oh, boy, I can't believe we're even debating this. You know what we're talking about? It's always game day. Cleveland will come back. We'll speak about the other O. Get your mind out of the gutter. No, I'm talking about the offense. Next, right here, it's always game day in Cleveland. It is, once again, as we like to say at the beginning of every segment, always game day in Cleveland. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. We are talking about OTAs. No one is forcing anyone to be in Berea for the Browns. It's optional. Daryl, did you take attendance while you were out there?
I did. I did not do the checklist. There were some guys. There were some guys that were missing, but yeah, I did not get. I didn't have OTA fever today.
It's okay.
I wasn't hyped up for it. I got to be honest. It was like, yeah, they're out there running around in T-shirts and shorts. Jameis Winston's taking pretty much the snaps of quarterback. Tyler Huntley's taking the snaps behind him. Like, really, what are we going to glean from this, right? I mean, they're working on stuff. They're installing stuff. I can't get into the over-analyzation of things right now.
Did you get to watch the whole practice, or was there just the media part? Oh,
no,
that's good. I mean,
we actually get to watch practice portion of the calendar.
You just can't do a play-by-play, right? They don't want you doing play-by-play.
Just not giving away
like if they call right X 42 wide.
Yeah, I mean, and
you're not going to tweet
anything.
that, are you?
Well, and so like when I put out when I put out B-roll, I have to put it out with no volume on it because you don't want to be giving away the instruction that the coaches are giving the players and things like that.
Omaha.
There are certain things that you want to respect when you're on the field, but I will say this, that the new guys, the new coaches, they coach. I mean, they you feel and hear
it wasn't cupcake. You're saying that? You're saying it wasn't a cupcake?
I'm not saying cupcake, but like you hear you know that these guys are on the field there to work, and I don't think that, especially like on the offensive side of things, I don't think that there are. I will say I didn't think that there was stuff that looked drastically different.
Okay.
So far, right? Like right. I didn't see concepts being run in like the 7-on-7s where I was like taken aback, or I was like, oh, that's new. And Wyatt Teller, let's hear from him here, Andy, because he kind of touched on this as well. He's dealing with a new offensive line coach. Of course, Bill Callahan went to Tennessee to work with his son. Ken Dorsey's come in as the offensive coordinator. I think we're all expecting that the wheel has been reinvented for the Browns this offseason on the offensive side of the ball. Is that fair? You're hosting every day. Is that kind of what the expectation is, that everyone thinks that Ken Dorsey's reinvented the wheel here?
I think that we're expecting Ken Dorsey to have all the issues cleaned up. You know how the barber, after he cuts your hair, is going to clean you up afterwards?
Yes.
We're hoping that that's right. We're hoping that Ken Dorsey can clean you up, whether it's the little shop vac they use, or I've got a guy that uses air. It's one of those deals. That's what I think they're kind of hoping for.
It's funny you should mention that. Because here's what Teller had to say about that very subject when it comes to the Browns offense.
A lot of turnover, and it is what it is. But, I think that we're doing great. I think that there's a lot of studying, because things are going to change a little bit. But like I said, the plays, when I was young, learning what a duo block was, that was hard. Now it's just like, okay, what words are we using to define this play? So at the end of the day, while our OC has changed, our offensive line coach has changed, our head coach is the same, and it's his offense, right? So, like I said, the X's and O's haven't changed. Now the words we're going to be using, the way we're going to be utilizing stuff, that's the difference in the OC and stuff like that. But I truly believe that Kevin's damn good at what he does, and I have full faith in him. This offense, it's going to be, just from the little glimpses, it's potent if we have the right people in the right places. So I said this every single year, and I'll say it again: if we execute, we're going to be a really hard team to beat, right? If we don't, if we turn the ball over, which we're all a part of it. Sometimes I wish that I made a joke earlier today that I was like, I just wish I was a little bit faster. Maybe I would have stopped one of the picks this year or something. Whatever. Who knows? If I was chasing after the ball or something. But we got to be a little bit more sound team.
All right, there you have it, Wyatt Teller. All right, so the haircut theory is in play. Yes, no. What are we thinking?
Yeah. And I like the observation he made about that Kevin Stefanski is still the head coach. This is still his offense, and terminology is really what's different. The X's and O's, that's minuscule in comparison. And also, too, I thought he made a very important point, Andy, and that is that offensively they were sloppy in some regards last year. That wasn't an Alex Van Pelt problem. That wasn't a Kevin Stefanski problem. That was the 11 guys on the field type of a problem. And he made the joke about how he thought about, hey, if he was a little faster, he could run down and give effort to break up one of those interceptions or, prevent turnovers there. So I think that is an important point that needed to be made, because again, I do think, yes, there's going to be some new concepts dropped in there that we are going to see, especially when we get to training camp. But like right now, they are in the playing around with stuff phase. Here's this, this group of plays that we're installing, and you've got to know and learn and things like that. We're still going to get to see some Wyatt Teller and Joel Bitonio pancake blocks down the field. With they call it the pin and pull scheme up front. Now, it's not going to be as prevalent as it has been in years past, but there is going to be some of that within this playbook where the interior offensive linemen are going to be doing the pin and pulling and having opportunities to get to the second and the third level of the defense. And as we know, Tellers and Bitonio, they're amongst the best in the business when it comes to that. So, I don't think that the run game is going to be as central to this thing as it's been in years past. They're going to be throwing the ball quite a bit. So, yeah, this isn't the time to be dissecting things and that, because they're putting stuff in. They're playing around with things. The defense is playing around with some stuff as well. We're going to talk about them in the next segment. But, I just feel like that, conceptually, it's kind of, I don't want to say like back to school type of thing, but it's got a little bit of a back to school type of feel to it.
Well, that's okay when you got a new teacher on the offense with Ken Dorsey. I mean, I think that should be expected. All of the ingredients are there for a really good offense this year. The question is can they put the right amount of spices in it, and just can they make sure they can do this right? Because if they don't, things can turn real quick and you could have issues. But I just
like Jerry Jeudy was fun to watch during practice today. Okay. He was like, he was everywhere, but I go back to last year with Elijah Moore. I said the same exact thing.
Yeah, you did.
When it came to Elijah Moore. And again, not taking anything away from Jeudy here, but I'm just trying to have some perspective about where we are in the calendar. And I don't want to get overly excited, but yeah, I really liked what I saw from Jerry Jeudy today. I thought it looked good. Cedric Tillman made a couple of really nice plays. His routes seemed to be a little tighter and a little crisper than they were a year ago. And that is something we had been hearing coming into these OTAs, that was something that Tillman, I guess, had been focusing on, being where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there and things like that. But the other thing too, to keep in mind with this offense, Andy, is it's not expected to be as on schedule and regimented as it has been in years past, right? Where with Stefanski, a lot of timing routes and stuff like that, there's going to be some latitude given to the receivers. There's going to be latitude given to Watson when it comes to these trees. But the one thing that is going to be interesting to monitor as we get into the season is the level of miscommunication, because it feels like that they are going to be putting a lot on that communication between Watson and the receivers, right? Mm-hmm. Where the receiver is going to have opportunities to break in or break out or double move or come back, or it just there. I think there's going to be a lot of freelancing built in to this offense, not just for Deshaun Watson, but for these receivers too.
Well, to me, Daryl, that sounds kind of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's, especially, but Deshaun's got to find them. That's what it comes down. Again, everything goes back to Deshaun, right?
And the receivers have to do what they're supposed to do as well, right? And be where they are supposed to go, and the feel, the communication, the chemistry is going to have to be on point for that to work the way that it's being designed. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, it all makes sense, because that was the missing element from last year, and we didn't see enough of it when Deshaun did play. All right, I want to talk about the defense. Let's do that when we come back here in a second. So it's always game day in Cleveland. He's Daryl. I'm Andy. And it is always game day in Cleveland. Of course, it is our OTA edition. And we thank everybody who's watching us on YouTube or listening to us on the Odyssey app. He is Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. We've talked about the quarterback. We've talked about the new offense. Let's talk a little bit of defense here because, Daryl, in the offseason, they just needed to build depth, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and they also brought guys back. Za'Darius Smith is back. By the way, new look for Z.
Really?
He cut the dreads off. Yeah, he looks younger.
Really?
He has a whole new he's got a whole new fit up top. He looks good.
Nice. Like a Daryl Ryder type haircut or no?
Not much better looking than mine.
That doesn't take much. Though.
Well, that's coming from the guy with the blown out salt and pepper poofy dome that you have.
Hey, salt and pepper's here, man.
Hey, listen, you can't be dishing it and not expect to have to take it.
Trust me, I have no problem taking it, and I absolutely have no problem dishing it out, as we know. Hey, by the way, any chance you're going to eat a cheeseburger anytime in the near future? I mean, because
no,
you weigh about 3 pounds. I mean, you are the Evan Mobley of broadcasters.
Oh no, I am. You mentioned cheeseburgers. I've actually started saving up because I'm going to have to feed Nick Wilson a cheeseburger because the Guardians are like scorching freaking hot. And at the rate they're going to have 82 wins before training camp. So we had a.
You mean the All-Star game?
So yeah, we had a bet that I had picked the Guardians to win 82 games.
Okay.
And the bet was if they win 83, I have to feed Nick.
Wow.
Cheeseburgers, some teasers, and a milkshake. Look, I was smart. I got the quantity to one each.
What did he call you out specifically for Swenson's, or what did he call you out for?
So we're gonna go to a local establishment that we won't name because if they would like to sponsor the podcast or the station or whatever, they can. But we're not doing free.
You know what? Throw him a bone. Just throw him a bone.
And,
I already just did. What am I talking about?
We may not be going there. It's the burger joint of his choice.
Well, you said teasers, so
I know, but
Mr. Hero has potato teasers.
Well, yeah, we'll see. But I made sure that we got it to like one because if I had to like actually feed him, I might need a third mortgage on the house to do it. So, but yeah, the Guardians are scorching hot, and I'm gonna have to pay up my end of the bet because
long season, Daryl. It's a long season. Win 62, lose 62. Tell me what you're going to do with the other stuff. So, all right, let's talk about the defense. My biggest concern about the defense today, in the day that the media was able to go, was how was Denzel Ward's arm after throwing out the first pitch for the Guardians against the Mets, where he could be the first person in the history of throwing out a first pitch where he autographed the ball, he did his celebration, and then he just chucked it into the upper deck behind the catcher.
And that was all intentional, by the way.
Oh, it was awesome.
That was
absolutely awesome.
That was not the Travis Kelce special that we got. Remember, he killed the worm. They had to replace.
What's crazy is he played baseball for a really long time. I think the problem that people have, and this is coming from the fact that I've thrown out the first pitch at a game, that
congratulations,
you get on the hill.
I like how you slid that in there. I've thrown out a first pitch.
Just saying. I threw out the first pitch.
Who was your catcher?
Grimsley.
Okay.
And it was the first game after the sellout streak. Kerry Sayers threw out a pitch. I threw out a pitch. We were celebrating the birth of the Ohio Sports Report.
Oh, okay. Because
on Fox Sports Net.
The Guardians lead the world in first pitches. Like they do about 20 of them per game now.
It's all right. There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
So they had like two groups do it before Denzel. Then Denzel threw his. Then they brought out Rajay Davis and Ubaldo Jimenez to do them at the same time. Yeah, they like lead the world in first pitches.
Why don't they have all three do it at the same time?
I was under the impression that a first pitch meant one person threw one baseball, and that was a first pitch.
And you probably thought it counted in the game too. Come
on.
No,
I am just old and curmudgeon-y when it comes to first pitch means one pitch, one first pitch. Should have been Denzel Ward, and that was it. Save Ubaldo and Rajay for like the next day or whatever. You don't need to do 50 of these damn things. But
who cares? Fans want to see people do that. Fans want to see non-traditional people try to do something that professionals make it look easy. I think the NFL should do an opening kick now, and they actually should count it.
Oh, you did not just say that.
Why? We're getting rid of kickoff. They're doing everything they can to get rid of the kickoff.
Rid of the kickoff. They made it exciting.
I hope they made it exciting. I hope they did.
The kickoff is going to be awesome. I have been talking to
Did
people.
you watch any of it? Did they do any today?
I have been. They did punts today.
Okay.
I've been running through some of the explanations on it that I've been given, and this is going to be. I think it's going to be the most exciting play in the game.
I don't disagree with you. I'm looking forward to it. All right, Daryl, can we talk about the defense and who'd you talk to on D?
Well, we got to visit with Za'Darius Smith and talk to him about his new haircut. And him obviously coming back to the Browns and look, I mean, this is where fans can feel really, really good about just the state of the franchise right now and where they're at organizationally, because Za'Darius basically said a big reason he came back to the Browns was because of the locker room, because of the culture and the program that is here and how comfortable it is for him as a player. We got to visit with MJ Emerson, talk to him about the schedule, the quarterbacks that they're going to face and things like that. So let's hear that clip from him right now.
I would say red zone defense. Who's in top 3, top 5 in a lot of categories. I want to say red zone we finished 26 in the league last year. So coming into this year, that's a big goal for us. If we can make guys settle for 3 points instead of getting 7, we save 4 points for the offense. And, 4 points in this league, that's a big difference. And that's my goal for this defense. One of our goals for this defense. Of course, I looked at the schedule. I checked that and looked at everybody. Great opponents this year. A lot of primetime games. It's exciting. Just to know we're going against a lot of elite talent. We're gonna have to come play every Sunday. And, I mean, that's our job. That's what we plan on doing. So we'll see on Sunday. Yeah, a lot of great quarterbacks, man. A lot of great quarterbacks. We look to make a lot of good balls, a lot of plays on the balls against those guys.
Daryl, you went through the list of the quarterbacks they are going to see this year, and it is kind of a daunting task. When they say you've got the hardest schedule in the NFL, that list you read off in the beginning really hammers that home.
Yeah, Dak Prescott in week 1, Trevor Lawrence in week 2, Daniel Jones in week 3, Gardner Minshew in 4, followed by Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson twice in 3 weeks, Bo Nix squeezed in there, it looks like, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, and Lamar Jackson. I mean, that is a gauntlet. And I liked what MJ said there about their red zone defense and really making that a priority, because let's be honest about it, the big explosive plays are going to happen. You're going to have a blown coverage. You're going to have a running back squirt through and get into open field. Like, that stuff happens. But if you can keep them hemmed in between the 20s, right? If you can force field goals instead of allowing touchdowns, that's 4 points that your offense does not need to score, right? And I thought that was a pretty astute point there made by MJ and how they were top 5 in so many categories last year. But one area where they were in the bottom third was in their red zone defense. They gave up way too many touchdowns in the red zone last season. And so that is one of those areas that they're looking to improve, because it is funny when you talk about, got to make the defense better this year, coming off of being the number 1 ranked defense last year, right? You're sitting there saying, well, where can they be better when they were the number 1 ranked defense? And
well, I can tell you where they can be better instantly.
Well, they were good at getting off the field on third down last year.
45-14. That's all I need to tell you. I mean, that we got smoked in the playoff game. Smoked.
Well,
can't happen again.
Well, keep in mind, 14 of those points.
I know we're short field and crazy.
No, 14 of those points weren't even, the defense wasn't even on the field.
No, I know we're against the offense, but still, it's like, Daryl, I mean, you can't, I don't know. It bothers me that last, because I was so behind the defense all year. And then that was a game where we needed more. And the offense didn't give them any help. So I'll keep my mouth shut on it. So,
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
It was a game at halftime, and then the 2 pick sixes happened, and that was all she wrote. Like, I mean, that wasn't the defense's fault. I mean, the final score, obviously, you look at it and it's easy to pin that on the defense, but that I would not pin a lot of that on the defense. I would
take away the 2 pick sixes, right? It's 31-14.
Hey, you know what? Channel,
I think the question more is,
take channel your inner Butch Davis, take away those big plays there. And
well, that doesn't make me feel any better, even if I go Butch Davis on here or not. Like it was a bummer because the defense played so well all year. And the thing I struggle with is why were they so much better at home than they were on the road?
Yeah, the defense didn't travel last year too, which is a big problem. But
yeah,
also keep in mind too, the Browns didn't get the real Houston Texans in that regular season game, right? CJ Stroud didn't play. Houston had a couple of key defensive players that were out in that game, and it turns out that those guys absolutely wreaked havoc in the playoff game. So I think that there's some perspective there. But the two things that they absolutely have to tighten up, red zone and the defense has to travel. And when you look at the schedule this year, they got to go down to Jacksonville. I wouldn't exactly consider Jacksonville an intimidating environment to go play, but they're going in September, and it's going to be hotter than Hades down there. So they're going to have to deal with the heat there. But, you know, Philadelphia is not going to be an easy road trip to make. We'll go ahead and skip New Orleans. I think we both agreed that's going to be a bye week for the Browns. Pittsburgh is never a fun place to play. They've won just one time in Pittsburgh, I think, in the last, I don't know, it feels like 50 years.
And they'll be fresher in the beginning of the season than they will be at the end. That's
so that's going to be a tough road trip. Cincinnati is always a fun trip. They always play, you know, wild games against the Bengals, it feels like. And then, of course, they got to close the season out in Baltimore. So, I mean, it's the good news is, right? The home games, Dallas, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, Giants, Raiders, Bengals, Ravens, Herbert and the Chargers are here, and yet you're not going to the West Coast for that one. Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes and company have to come here. Not that really matters, but, I'm looking for a little silver lining there.
Hopefully the field will be messed up. So.
And Tua is not going to be here until December 29th.
And it'll be cold. Hopefully he'll leave his gloves in.
And hopefully the fish are as frozen as they were in Kansas City during the playoff there. So, but yeah, I mean, it isn't going to be easy, but I still think that I feel like with them bringing back the pieces they did, filling in some of the depth that Andrew Berry filled in this offseason, I think they're going to be fine. I really do.
I do too. We'll talk more about all this stuff as we get closer. It just feels like we're a million miles away. That's all.
And the defense, they look pretty good. The last play of OTAs, the rookie linebacker, Nathaniel Watson, made the play of the day. He returned an interception all the way back. They were ending like with a red zone drill. Mm-hmm. He was able to come away with the interception of Tyler Huntley, and he ran it all the way. And the entire defense raced all the way to the other end of the field like they had just won a game or won the Super Bowl or whatever. They were all celebrating and hooting and hollering, and that was the play that ended the OTA, the organized team activities for the day on Wednesday afternoon.
All right. Speaking of ending, for our outstanding producer, Evan O'Brien, he's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. Always want to remind you that we're brought to you by, locally, we are brought to you by Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. Daryl, we will talk on the next podcast. We always appreciate you watching on YouTube and listening on the Odyssey app. It's always game day in Cleveland.